Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com. Today I want to talk about a subject that I talk about very regularly because it's so important. And no, I'm not going to talk about following Philippians 4:8, although you should do that. But what I want to discuss is taking personal responsibility for your life. Now, this gets thrown around a lot where it's people just trying to, I guess, accuse other people of not being responsible or being lazy or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you have to redirect things in your life and take responsibility for them, because that is the only way you will have power in your life. If you go around being a victim, well, this circumstance happened to me, poor me. Well, this person did that to me, poor me. You just go around through life and it's other people's responsibility for why your life is the way it is. It's other people's responsibility why you made that bad decision. It's other people's responsibility for the lot you have in life. You have completely given up all your power, all control to other people, to outside circumstances. And that's a tragic place to be in, because then the whims of life and other people's fleeting concern for you is now what you are at the mercy of. And that's not good. Because most people, let's be blunt, don't care about you. Maybe your friends and family do, maybe even not them, who knows? But at least they don't have your best interest at heart at all times. They have their own best interest at heart. If you are going around and expecting other people to make your life better, other people to do the things that need to be done in your life to make it good, you're going to be waiting a very long time, because they're not interested in that. They don't care about that. Now, they may want to help you. They may want your life to be better, but they can't focus on your life and be responsible for your life. So what I'm proposing is something I've proposed many times, is 100% responsibility. Now, this is a hard thing for people to hear, especially if they've been going through the life being a victim. And there's always some excuse for why something happened. Well, this person didn't do this. This person cheated me. This person did that. Now, listen, I got to be very clear, because I don't want people to think, well, you just don't understand. You haven't had these problems. I've had people cheat me. I've had business relationships with people where I've poured in a huge amount of money into a business and they defrauded me. I've had that happen. I'm not complaining. Because here's the thing. I'll give you one of those examples. Let me give you this example, because this is very important, because I want to show you from my own life where I made a mistake. Because you may be looking at your life, seeing problems in it, and thinking, well, I didn't make any mistake there. It wasn't my fault. Because that's what the victim, the perpetual victim, always says. The person who doesn't take 100% responsibility for their life always says they didn't do it, or, well, maybe I didn't do this right, but it was other persons that did something wrong. And there's some truth to that, of course. The other person, if they do wrong to you, yes, they did that. You're not taking responsibility for them. You're taking responsibility for you and your choices in the matter that led to them being able to do that to you. So my example is, I had this business relationship with this individual. I purchased a whole lot of goods, a store worth of goods. I had this, now this is years and years and years ago, before I was smart enough, wise enough, I guess it would be, to be led by the Spirit in all things. Because I was kind of like feeling things out, not knowing for sure, and I guess just thinking I would lean to my own understanding, and it led to disaster. Because everything on the surface about this individual, he'd been in business for many years, had hundreds of thousands of positive feedbacks in the various platforms he'd sold on, and so his record, his track record, his history, his reputation was stellar. Everything was fine there. But he was going to ship all this stuff to me, no big deal. But I had this feeling in my gut, a little still small voice of the Spirit telling me, you need to go pick that up in person. Now, I being in Texas at the time, I didn't want to drive all the way to Florida to pick up this stuff. Had to get a huge 18-wheeler and drag all this stuff back home. I didn't want to deal with that. So I didn't go with that still small voice. And it was a fundamental mistake. Because I don't know what would have happened if I went there. I presume maybe I would have got the actual goods that I was paying for. But what happened, because I didn't go there and I didn't do my due diligence, I just took his word and I went against the intuition, the still small voice, the leading of the Spirit to go in person and pick up these products, which is not something I would normally do anyway. He sent products. They were trash, literal junk, stuff that there's no value in them. You couldn't even salvage value from them. They were trash. And so it was a complete loss, 100% loss. And because the money was wired, there was, could sue the guy, but that gets into a lot more money. So then you're out even more money and you may not even win, because obviously there was some scam going on where he was cutting and running. He fled the internet after that and everything was gone. He was pretty much disappeared. So even if you sue somebody like that, they may be judgment proof at that point because they're gone. They're disappeared. Who knows where they are? How are you going to find them and get any money back recovered from them? But, and this is important, it was my fault. I was responsible for that. And I had the leading of the Spirit to know better, and I went against that. I foolishly went with my own understanding. Well, this guy's got a good reputation. I don't need to go there. I listened to other people who I asked for wise counsel. Oh, it's not worth going there. It's just extra expense. And so I foolishly went against the leading of the Spirit, and I set myself up for that loss. Now, I could blame the other person because obviously it was completely fraudulent, but it was my fault. It was my responsibility to make the wise decisions and put myself in the best place to not be able to be defrauded, and most importantly, to follow the leading of the Spirit and not lean to my own understanding. Now, there may be something in your life where you say it's all the other person's fault. And maybe everything on their end is wrong. It's bad. They did everything wrong to you. Okay. But what about the decisions you made that got you to trust that person in the first place? That got you to put yourself in the position where that person could do wrong to you in the first place? That's where personal responsibility comes in. True 100% responsibility for your life, personal responsibility for your life, is when you take responsibility even when somebody else seems to be 100% in the wrong. Because while they may be 100% in the wrong and you didn't do anything wrong per se, you put yourself in that position in the first place. That's your responsibility. Because if you didn't put yourself in that position, you never would have dealt with that person and you never would have had that experience. And like in my example, I'm willing to guess that many people have had the same thing. And I've counseled with many people, thousands of people over the years, and inevitably they all, in some big, tragic, bad experience, every single one of them, when they really thought back and tried to think and put themselves in the position they were when that happened, every single one of them said they had his gut feeling against it. They had an idea this wasn't the right move, but they went with somebody else counseled them, or they went with their own ideas, and it led to a disaster. Now, that may not be your position. Maybe you didn't have any kind of leading of the Spirit to do the right thing, to do a different thing that would have worked it out in your favor. I don't know. But you still had the responsibility of putting yourself in that position in the first place. And I have to stress this. This is not about blaming yourself, so now you can just redirect all your anger from this one person now to yourself. It's not about that at all. This is about taking responsibility and starting to make decisions that work in your favor. Make decisions that work in the favor of your allies, the people who are on your side. Stop just blindly going through life and letting time and chance happen to you. But be the person of character who is making the decisions, following the leading of the Spirit, which is very important because He knows all the situations going on out there. He knows exactly what's going to be happening if you make this decision that for you and all the information you have, all the data you have, looks 100% safe. Meanwhile, He knows it's 0% safe. So make sure you're seeking God's wisdom, and you're following the leading of the Spirit that you get. You're following the wisdom of the Lord that you do get. Don't just seek God's wisdom and then not follow it. Seek His wisdom and follow it. Even if it makes no sense at the time, even if it completely goes against what you see in the natural realm, because that will lead you to the best result. And it may cause you to step back from an opportunity that looks perfect on the surface, where it may have been a complete, total loss in reality. So my friend, stand up today. Be that man or woman of God who takes responsibility for their lives, who doesn't look around to point the finger and blaming somebody. And don't blame yourself either. Just take this as a learning opportunity. All these bad things that may have happened in your life, hopefully you haven't had very many, but if you had some, take them as learning opportunities to now move forward and be wise and follow the gentle leading of the Spirit. And take responsibility for your life, putting yourself in the best situations at all times for the best results for you and your allies. My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.